Hi and welcome back to Lux Garage. I'm Jason and this isn't Lux Garage, this is Lux Landing. We're down here in Florida about to go on a cruise for my son's graduation. We've had to postpone it a couple times, now we're getting to finally go. And I'm hoping to get back into doing some of my other videos here pretty soon when we get back. And I may have a little cruising video coming out too while we're on the cruise, because I'm going to be hunting some Hot Wheel cars and whatever I turn around and find while I'm there. I just had a live with Rocky Top Picker. If you've not checked out his channel, he's got a lot of good information on there. We had a good time. It was a blast. It's the first live I've ever done. And enjoy the live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rocky Top Reselling Live. My name is Ben, the Rocky Top Picker. And joining me, I've been excited for this one, ladies and gentlemen. My good friend, Jason from Lux Garage is joining us right here tonight. How we doing, Jason?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. It's my first live, so take it easy.
Take it easy. Well, we won't cause too much harm to you, my pal. But anyway, welcome in everybody. As I said, my name is Ben, Rocky Top Picker. We are live here on YouTube with Jason of Lux Garage, a full-time reseller. And boy, does he have the merchandise, ladies and gentlemen. He is a collector like me, especially when we're talking Hot Wheels, and we'll get more into that as time goes. And we got some people joining us here in chat. We got Chris, Easy Pickens in the house. How you doing, Chris? Good to see you. He was a former guest here on the Rocky Top Live. And then my favorite, Mary McQueen. Hi, guys. Welcome in, Mary. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's Wednesday. Carol is, man, they're in here. They travel in packs, Jason. Carol and Mary travel together. Carol, as I'm here but not feeling too well tonight, so I might be quiet. Well, I hope you get to feeling better. Carol, thank you for joining us anyway. I appreciate it. And we're going to let everybody filter on in. But anyway, I want to jump right into this because, Jason, I know you have got a lot to share about your experiences as a reseller, a buyer, a collector, and a trader. So we're going to jump right into this. And I want you to first start things off. Tell us about what you used to do for a living before you became a full-time reseller.
All right. I worked for I'll just put it out there. I worked for Nissan Motor Company, and I was in the maintenance department. I worked with robots and cameras, systems. Then I moved on up in the ranks and all that good stuff, become the manager out there and worked at that for over 7 years. And then had some stuff go on, and I was like, I'm ready to get off night shift, work night shift that whole time, 20 years. I'm like, I'm ready to go off nights. So I decided to go ahead and retire and start reselling full time. And
now, how old are you?
I am 45.
Retired from the workforce at 45 years old. That's amazing. And, how did you get into the what turned you really on? I know you've resold, bought, sold, trade before. You've been on eBay quite a few years. We've talked about that, in a conversation. Right. What drew you to go into full-time reselling? And then I want you to start talking about what made you decide you wanted to start a YouTube channel, which, by the way, folks, go over to Lux Garage here on YouTube. I'll put the link down in chat, Jason, as you start telling people the answer to that question.
Well, like you said, I've collected and resold and traded around basically all my life. My dad did it all when I was growing up, and I've just always seen him. He'll buy something or trade around and get something to get something else that you want. And so I saw that all the time when I was growing up, and we still do it to today. And I've done it all my life, and I was like, well, if I did it full time and do what I do now, except for have a lot more time to do it, then maybe I can make it. And a lot of things come up, and it just fell in line where I could start doing it full time. And my wife and my mom and dad, they're my biggest supporters, and with them supporting me, it was like, do it. And then as far as the YouTube stuff goes, I've got a lot of people over the years that's been like, man, you got so much stuff out there, you don't even know what you got.
Yeah.
Especially in like the Hot Wheel community, and then signs community. You start learning a lot of people and, doing all that. And over the years, you just learn who's got what and what's got, who are the harder stuff. And then they're like, hey, you're starting to get rid of it now. Video it. Daddy was a big one. He's like, video it. I watch these guys all the time do stuff. And he's like, you got a lot. So I was like, okay. So I just started videoing one day, and that's where I'm at right now. I've only got 10 out, but I'm trying to be kind of consistent, put one out once a week. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with my YouTube stuff.
That's where it takes, man. Hey, we want to say hey to Keith, Vintage Sport Flips, and also Chris Easy Pickens. I need to point this out. These two gentlemen are members of the Reseller Locker Room podcast. Always great to have these gentlemen in with us. So, Jason, you have about 10 videos out, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you enjoy the most about creating videos and being a YouTube creator?
I like the editing, probably my favorite. I like to go through my collection, probably my favorite thing, to see what I've had that I hadn't seen in, well, the one I'm about to drop is 18 years. This box has been packed for 18 years on my next one that I'm about to put out. And
tell me something. Tell me this. When you're going through your boxed up collection, a lot of it you've not seen in years, correct?
Right.
Is it not like just like kid on Christmas Day when you go through that stuff?
Yeah. And that's why I started videoing it, because it's easy. If I video it, you can't, you see my reaction when I'm pulling it out. And, even though you edit a lot of that stuff out, but it's like you can on some things, because it's like, oh, you can't believe you had it sitting there for X amount of years, or, whatever, just sitting there collecting dust. And
tell us a little bit about everything that you've got in your collection that you're slowly rolling out to put on your eBay store. What all that stuff is.
All that stuff would be Hot Wheels is probably number one. I've got signs, all kinds of signs. I've got antiques. I've got anything I thought was cool over the years. Toys. I'm looking at probably 2,000 record albums that I listened to them. So it was like, anything to do with I thought was cool through the years. I wanted it. I got it. I mean,
that's, before we went live, I was eyeballing that original WWF gym bag hanging up there behind you. Yeah, that. Yeah. What do you got? You've got that on your eBay store. What you got that priced at?
I have to look at the exact price. I think it's $225, $250 or $225.
You know how much DNA is probably all over that bag?
Oh yeah, everybody.
Man, watching your videos on your channel, and again, guys, I want to encourage you, if you've not subbed to Jason, please go do so. He has got so much unique stuff, man. As a collector myself, I just start slobbering at the mouth when I'm seeing all your stuff. And I'm like, and I was telling you this before we went live, I'm deliberately staying away from your store because I will be spending a ton of money as a collector now. And I can't do that because I've got to make money. That's how my bills are get paid. So it's amazing the stuff that you've been able to buy, sell, trade for over the years. And tell us the vicinity. You're a Tennessee guy. What's the vicinity that you're from?
It's between Sparta and McMinnville area. I don't know if that's
Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We want to say hi to Trailer Trash Flips. He's put out a good video today. Yeah, that's about returns. And that's something that I wanted to ask you too, Jason, is your, have you had returns yet? And how do you handle those, or what's your policy on returns?
I've had 2 in the last year and a half solid, and 1,700 transactions. I've had 2 returns. And I said, you go ahead and return it. And as soon as it got here, I refunded them their money. No problem. It was higher dollar things. So well, if it was something that was $5 or $10, I'd probably been like, keep it. Here's your money. But I've only had 2, so luckily.
So what is your return policy? Do you have one set up in your store where you do a 30-day money back guarantee, buyer pays for returns, or do you have any of that?
Mine's a no return policy on mine. Of course,
Okay.
eBay's going to make you return, but dealing with collectibles and the things I deal with, I just leave the no returns. I know a lot of people, I could get that extra plus on eBay if I would just turn that off, but
Yeah.
I don't have it on because of the collectible stuff. I mean, I know a lot of people like eBay's going to do it anyway. I understand that, but there is a reason behind my madness of that.
Yeah. Well, you know what I found? I mean, here's the overlying factor to everything when you're talking reselling is there's no right or wrong way to do your individual businesses. Just from things that I've observed, experiences I've had, some people would say, Jason, that your items will get more views and more serious consideration of purchase if you didn't have that no return on the item. But understanding, you've already mentioned several times that whether you have no returns in your store or not, eBay's going to refund them anyway. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But let us know in chat what you guys' return policies are. And we have a question from Mr. Woody is in the house. Welcome, Woody. Good to see you, my Oklahoma friend. Tennessee. He says you're from Tennessee. Do you play guitar, Jason?
Back when I was a teenager, I was into it big time, but I've got a few sitting around, but nothing. I don't like specifically play. I'm not any good.
Okay. You're not going to be playing in Nashville anytime soon.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Chris Easy Pickens says, I found someone selling cooler stuff than me. Oh, yeah. Chris, if you've not seen Chris's Easy Picking channels, man, he knows how to pick. He's got some good high dollar stuff. And Woody says, all I am selling is low dollar items at the moment. And let's see what Keith has. I do the same thing as Jason, prevents people from returning at a whim and having to reship fragile, valuable items unless INAD or damage. Yeah, definitely. I can see that for sure, Keith. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So you retired from the Nissan plant. You're full-time reselling. What is your favorite part of the reselling business, Jason?
Shipping.
What? Seriously?
You've already made your money at that point. That's your best part.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've had anybody ever answer that way before.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen in chat, ladies and gentlemen, if your favorite part of reselling is shipping, let me know because, dude, I hate shipping.
Well, you've made your money when you're shipping. So it's the best part.
Well, I guess true. Oh boy.
And if you pick every day, like I'm always trying to buy something or trade around on something, that's just like normal. So I say my favorite part obviously would be buying something, but my favorite part's shipping just because you've made your money at that point.
True that. That is true. Hey, we got Scott the Cha-Ching King is in the house. When I retired and went full-time reselling, I had 3 $0 days in a row. There you go. Scott's been around a very long time, not only on eBay, but here on YouTube. The Cha-Ching King. Good to have you in, Scott. Good to see you. And then Trailer Trash Flip says, other than sourcing, I enjoy shipping also. Yeah. It's funny to hear people say that's my favorite thing is shipping because that's usually the first stumbling block that people have as resellers is tackling and mastering the shipping side of things. And of course, Scott, the Cha-Ching King, can tell you all about the shipping. Scott was one of the first YouTubers I ever started watching years ago. His instructional videos, particularly in the shipping category, is phenomenal. So if anybody ever has any shipping questions, go back and watch Cha-Ching King's channel. He does great instructionals, especially for newbies on that. And then Scott says, I thought he was going to say I'd been around here on Earth a long time and I wasn't going to argue. Yeah. But good to have you in, Scott. Oh, we got the snake handler. Yeah, we got Shane, Mr. Soda City Flips. Look at these bum boop, rednecks. Yep. This is the house of rednecks for sure, man. Absolutely. All right. So shipping's the favorite thing. What is your least favorite part of the reselling business, my friend?
Um, Probably the storage,
Yeah.
having a storage area, and anything to do with if it ain't vintage clothes, that's probably my least favorite thing. Vintage
Okay.
clothes are my favorite thing as far as clothes wise, but if
Yeah.
it's not vintage, it's I don't like listing it.
How many items do you roughly have listed already in your store?
Well, I was running around 750, and then I started YouTube, and now I'm down to about 670, 680. So I've not been keeping up on it. So it's like it's selling pretty good. It's just trying to keep them up. So
Yeah. Shane says, you just going to skip over my comment like I don't exist. Jason didn't appreciate that.
I,
Shane, as you know,
know.
is my co-host on the Reseller Locker Room podcast. And yeah, Jason, I get distracted sometimes with people's comments. I've got to just throw them in here. Anyway, where do you store all your merchandise, Jason?
Currently down here in the basement, I've got stuff set up all around for me to make sure that everything's kind of. I try to keep it kind of neat in here, but it gets overwhelming at times. So I
So
just
you
got.
don't
Go ahead.
you don't have any outside storage buildings or storage units that you keep your stuff in?
Oh well, no, not. I've got a 40 by 60 shop. That's what the whole channel is about. Just basically going through it, my garage, and going through it and deciding what I want to sell and resell. My death pile is 30 plus years old. So if you want to look at it like that.
Well, explain that. Why is your death pile 30 some years old?
Well, I was a collector. I never was a big reseller. You get on. I did a lot of eBaying, but it was mostly to sell something to buy something else I wanted for my collection. Through the years, been on there for 20 something years. Whenever it basically first started, but it was just to find stuff for my collection mostly. So you kind of like, I'll sell a few things here and there. Well, everybody that knows me knows I'm a collector first, and they're like, he don't ever sell anything. So I mean, other than just trade around Hot Wheels, I usually do a lot more trading, or I'll sell cars, a real car, a real boat, motorcycles, whatever, But as far as collectible stuff, I was just basically a collector slash hoarder. Depends on who you talk to, my wife. But anyway,
Okay,
so
here we go. Go
anyway,
ahead. Go ahead,
so
Jason.
30 years of collecting is why I say I've got a 30-year death pile out there.
You want to read that question for you, Jason, or you want me to read it?
I don't know a lot about the motorcycle stuff. I know quite a bit about the Fink stuff, and I don't know a whole lot about. I know a lot about motorcycle helmets in general because I collect them. I collect just about anything that I like. But I know this is an original, and I've got another original behind it. From this one's called the Easy Rider Captain America bike. A lot of people know it from Easy Rider.
Yeah.
This is an original AMF, not an AMF. This is an original Bell, and I have another one behind it that I don't show because some people don't like it. But it's back there because they're almost a matching set.
Why wouldn't people like a helmet? What's the big deal?
Oh,
oh yeah, you go pull it out. Oh yeah, okay. I see it now.
But
gotcha.
No, it's nothing. It's just I collect helmets. I've got a lot of the glitter helmets up at the shop that I've had for years. I actually pulled the one in the back out of the original box from 1969. So it's a pretty expensive helmet. It's a Fury. I take that back. That one back there is a Fury.
Okay.
But anyway.
All right. Chris Easy Pickens says, Jason, most valuable item you've sold since you've started selling off your collectible stuff?
Let's see. I've sold a couple of Hot Wheel prototypes for over, let's see, last one was $1,200. I sold Jack Daniels bottle for $1,000. I took an offer on it. I probably should have kept it for a little longer. I don't know. There's mostly Hot Wheels stuff. I sell a lot of $100 to $500 Hot Wheels. So there's that, and then of course a lot of people say Hot Wheels aren't worth a lot, but there's collectors out there, they're worth quite a bit. It don't have to be old, even though old stuff sells good. New stuff sells well too. So,
yep. Scott says I've got several vintage helmets here, a couple of Furies, all white with some black stripes.
That's cool.
Yeah, I never did get into selling really the motorcycle helmets. I've sold a lot of I sell a lot of Harley clothes, chaps, vests, stuff like that, t-shirts, and never got into the helmets. So yeah, that's what size box do you ship the helmets in?
I haven't sold any helmets yet.
Oh, you ain't sold any. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't even have any listed. These are mine. This is a lot of this stuff right here behind me, directly behind me, is not for this stuff's listed. This stuff's mine.
Yeah. Chris says I sold a few high dollar Hot Wheels over the last 2 weeks. As a matter of fact, I think Chris got a collector's convention car. You know that, Jason.
Oh yeah.
He gave $500 for it, and he took an offer for $900 for that thing.
Oh yeah, was it the Batmobile? The Go Batmobile. No. I think it was a Go Batmobile. I watched the show earlier.
Yeah, Chris, drop it in chat. What car that was? That collector convention car that you sold there. We can't get into Hot Wheels, man, and we're gonna be here all night because I'll get rolling with it.
I told Ben to come to the Hot Wheel convention. It's in Atlanta. I'll be there.
I'll spend too much money, dude. I gotta save my money for 127.
Well, you sell stuff, you buy more stuff to resell, but you enjoy it while you get it.
Yeah. Scott says the estate that I just picked in North Carolina raced motorcycles, even did some stunt work in Hollywood. So I picked up some really cool motorcycle stuff. Absolutely,
cool.
Man.
That's cool.
Yeah, you were right, Jason. It was the 2012 Collector Convention Batmobile.
It's very sought after. I sold one loose. I think I got almost 600 for mine loose. I rip everything just about out of the package. So it's easier to do it whenever you first get it than it wait for the value, because some things go or some things drop out. So
yeah,
it's easier to rip it then than it is now.
Right. Well, welcome in Matt's Profit Pursuit. I haven't seen Matt here in a while. How you doing there, Matt? He's also got a great YouTube channel as well. Man, I was going to ask you, tell us about, it's important as a reseller. Reselling can be a lonely business. And tell us about your support system, Jason. Family, your wife, do they all support you, help you with your business, or what?
So, of course, my wife and my mom and dad are my biggest supporters. My wife, just letting me be able to do it is huge. My mom and dad's always sourcing stuff for me, always, constantly. Even going through now with my mom and dad moved. Now I'm getting all the stuff I had when I was a kid. So I'm getting to decide what I want to keep, what I want to sell on that stuff, which is, everybody knows the 80s and 90s stuff is just going crazy right now. But my wife, number one supporter, my mom and dad, probably number one. They're all three just been great. That's basically, I'm an only child, so that's the way it is.
Well, I'm an only child too. I'm with you on that. Matt says that rat fink is sick. Are you going to sell that, or is it listed?
No, if it's mine, I've already had somebody reach out wanting to buy it already. And I just got it offline it's been a few years back, 5 or 6 years ago. I've got a 3-footer up in the shop, but it's one of the, aluminum ones that will come. It's not a real licensed product,
Okay.
So, but it's a 3-foot metal statue up at the shop. So,
okay.
I love the rat fink stuff.
Yeah. Woody says you guys would love the Southwest Vintage Toy Show here in Oklahoma, loaded with Hot Wheels. Yeah, buddy. for sure. So, Jason, does your wife actually help you with your eBay business? Does she help you ship and pull orders, or do you do all that yourself?
She will go with me when we go sourcing and shopping, whatever. But I do everything else myself. She's got a full-time job, and so just her letting me be able to do this full time is a huge support. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's some other aspects of reselling that you can tell us about? Because I want everybody here that's in chat and everybody that'll be watching this on replay to really learn more about you. So take some time to start talking whatever you'd like to share, man.
well, if you see my channel at all, what's happened is that since I decided to start reselling, I'm trying to downsize my collection basically. And I've been collecting all my life. I've got a 40 by 60 shop up there that I'm trying to slowly go through. So I thought, why not unbox it? I'll let everybody see kind of what I'm getting out of these boxes and what I'm bringing down from the shop. I'll list some. I'll keep some. If I'm going to keep it, I want to see it. And then I'm trying to downsize because, like I said, my son, he's 18. Well, he's 19 now. He just turned 19 this last weekend. Anyway, he don't really collect anything. He's into his truck. We just redone an '83 Chevy Silverado for him.
Nice.
So he's into the trucks and all that good stuff, and he's not into collecting. So I've got to start selling it. I can't even get into my shop up there to put a car in it. My Trans Am sitting on my front porch of my shop right now. Luckily, it's covered, but you can't even get into my shop. So
yeah.
Anyway, so as far as reselling, I think if you take the good pictures and it's some of the stuff I've got, I ain't gonna lie, it's hard to price because there's some of it just ain't out there. So if you price it well, it's gonna sell. You take decent pictures and it's gonna sell if you've got a decent price on it.
Yeah.
My problem is if I want to keep it a little longer, then I do want to sell it, but I want to keep it a little longer. I'll price it a little higher, and then I'll drop it down later. But
yeah,
I'll pull it out and be like, I want to sell it, but I want to enjoy it for a little while, so I'll stick it over here, look at it, and then I'll drop it down when I'm ready for something else to take its spot. So
gotcha. Now, do you take offers on any of your listings?
I've got offers on everything. I've got turned offers on all my items. I've got I also have shipping on all my items except for the real expensive stuff. I figured you're already paying X amount of dollars. I might as well, because I'm going to probably have to insure it anyway, and I'm going to want a signature and all that stuff. So I'm not going to, if you're going to pay my price, then I'm going to go ahead but everything that's low dollar, it's got shipping on it. And then I've got offers on everything. It don't matter if it's $5 or if it's $2,500 item. I've got it where you can send an offer. You can send an offer of $1. I'm not going to say I'm going to take it, but I've got it on. So
okay. Do you do calculated shipping? Is that what you mostly do?
No, I do. All of mine is straight set price shipping. Everything I have in my stores straight set price.
So you do flat rate then? Is that?
Yeah, flat rate. Sorry, yeah, flat rate.
How's that working out for you? Because there's a mix in the community of a lot of people who do flat rate, and then there's a lot of us that do. I do the calculated personally, because of where I live. It's works out better for me. But
when I did calculated, I had some people reach out and be like, "Hey, this is this much to ship," and then I started looking into that. But that's been about a year ago or so before I started realizing that they were like, a guy living here in Memphis was buying some cars from me, on a regular, and he was like, "Man, this shipping's killing me." And I said, "Well, it's only this much to ship. I know what it costs. I mean, a Hot Wheel $5.99 is what it's going to cost me to ship. It's going to cost me almost $5 to ship it. Time you do 12 ounces, 8 to 12 ounces, and boxing, all the material, and all that. Because I bag every car, I bubble wrap every car. I also put protector paper on it, and then I've got a fresh box. So by the time you do all those, you're going to have another 50, 80 cents in shipping. So $5.99 for a car, it's pretty reasonable. And he's like, well, they're charging me $7, $8. And I'm like, well, let me start just putting down what I think it's going to cost me. And so $5.99, if they buy more than one, I put it right there on my description. I will combine shipping and I'll refund them. It's easier just to refund than it is to try to combine it all. It seems like these days anyway.
Okay. Here's a question for you. How often do you sell at the shows? Saw you had a booth on your video.
Whenever I get a chance, I usually do the ones around here in Tennessee. I've done the ones in Alabama, but mostly it's around here, Middle Tennessee area, or Knoxville. I do the Knoxville show quite often the last couple of years. Just whenever I get a chance. There's one in Murfreesboro I usually set up at also the last couple of years. I try to go to the conventions, and that's where I sell a lot of my bigger ticket items because I'm there to buy some bigger ticket items. But yeah, I try to set up at as many shows as I can, or if I don't set up, I want to be there so I can trade around with, you get to know the people there and you get to know the community and you want to see them. That's like the nationals or the conventions. I get to see those guys once or twice a year. So it's just a big party of trading around cars and then talking stories that, the guys and you only get to see them once a year. So,
yeah. I've watched I subscribe to a lot of diecast channels on YouTube. And what struck me odd when I first started watching it is a lot of these conventions are held in these hotels, and people are just turning their hotel rooms into sales floor. Instead of being in a giant banquet hall, you're going into individual hotel rooms to look at people's stuff. I thought that was odd to me at first.
It's a blast. It's like, if you don't want to sell, you just shut your door and you go and enjoy it. You're there for a week. I'm usually there from Wednesday till Sunday. Nothing but Hot Wheels every day.
Wow.
And if you've never been to one and you're into Hot Wheels or diecast in general, Matchbox, it is nothing like ever. My first one was in 2000 and I think it was 2003 was my first one, and I've missed one I think since. It's just like anything else. I try to go to I collect signs. So if you ever do signs, you want to do a big sign show. If you're into signs at all, you'll know Dixie. It's in Sevier County there at Pigeon Forge. The Dixie Sign Show is twice a year during the rod runs, which I go to those every year. Me and my wife got married when our honeymoon, didn't know what was going on, and ever since we've been back every year, spring and fall. So she was like, "It's a big mistake," and I was like, "No, this is awesome,
dude." I love it because that is redneck. We go up to Pigeon Forge, get married. We saw the rod run, and we're back every year. That's awesome. Hey, Scott says I do flat rate. I live in Central Texas and other than Alaska and Hawaii, it's fairly easy to include everyone in a flat rate. If it's heavy, I exclude Alaska and Hawaii. Absolutely.
I tell you what's really, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Or you got a question, Jason? Do you refund shipping if they don't ask?
Yes. I always do. Anything I put on in big bold letters, if you look at any of my listings, it's going to say I combine shipping. And I get so many return customers. One is that I package it well and I describe it well, and I want them to get what they're buying because, hard-earned money, you want to get what you get paying for. So when they get it, I feel like they're going to be better customers. I just go ahead and put a little note and say, "Hey, I saw you bought 3 items. I went ahead and combined shipping on these 2 and put them all in the same box, shipped them out. Appreciate it." And then half the time they're like, "Oh man, I didn't even realize that I was buying 2 from you." And then they become followers on there. And then I sell to them, once or twice a month. They'll be like, "Hey, send me a message," and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for this, looking for that. That's just what I do. That's the long story. Sorry, I like to talk a lot, guys, girls. Sorry.
Have at it, my friend. We're ahead of schedule. Here's a question I have for you, though. Do you do any? Do you promote any of your listings? Do you do any
Yeah,
promoting?
I
What
promote
rates?
every listing at 3.
3%?
And the only reason I did is because I was listening and I got dull and I was like, well, let's try this promoted listing because I'd seen some people talking about it and I bumped it. First I did the 2
Yeah.
and it went pretty good, but then I went to 3 and it was like I think everybody was doing the 2. So whenever I did the 3, it was like, hey, I got all these sales. So um, that's what I do. I just leave it at 3 and let it ride. And that's on everything except for like I think I got 5 items right now that it shows me my little message to promote, but they're like a Nintendo said I'm not promoted, which I should probably, but I just don't want to give away that, on that bigger stuff. There's not a lot out there. I don't see no reason. There's going to be plenty of eyeballs on it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you end and sell similar?
Yes, almost every day. If I got the time, first thing I do, I like to get up in the mornings and of course I'm going to send offers every morning. And then right after I send an offer, I'm going to try to see what's ending today. And I try to schedule it out to kind of end them and then lay them out to where they drop ever so often throughout the day for whatever I had listed that day. And then that's the way I try to do it. And I try to do that about every 2 months. I'm cycling. I try to get every month, but it's sometimes, you'll miss a day or so. So
Yeah. Yeah. Here's a question for you, Jason. I'm going to let you answer it first. Question for either of us. What do your family and friends think of your reselling business? I'll let you answer that first.
like I said, my number one supporters are my mom, dad, and my wife. Um, I think most of my other a lot of my friends didn't even realize what that I'd left, and I've been gone over a year now from my full time job, and it's like, well, we didn't even realize you'd done it, and I was like, well, I don't just go around and say, hey, I've quit, I'm retired, I just say this is what I'm doing now, and I've not had any, I've not really had anybody say, hey, that's crazy. I mean, because anybody that knew me, I'm always buy, selling, trading something. So
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm an only child, Jason, like you are, and my parents thinks that it's fantastic. Now, my friends, they think it's absolutely crazy. And what I mean by crazy is when I tell them certain items that I paid for and what they sold for, it flips them out. They can't believe that some of the things that I've been able to sell, like let's take the Hallmark keepsake Christmas ornaments as an example. Years ago, I collected the Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation ornaments. Well, right before we started getting into holiday season last year, I went and pulled them out of my storage unit from my collection. They've not been out of the box in years. And because I don't put up a Christmas tree because I'm just a single dude, what's the point? So I sold one. It was cousin Eddie's RV that the sticker on it, I gave like $13.95 for it way back when it came out, when we had a Hallmark store here in town. And it sold for $361 plus shipping for that little ornament. So anytime I tell my friends stories like that, they're like, that is absolutely insane. And I'll tell you what, Jason, I don't know what you feel about it, but if you're needing to make money on the side, if you're not in this reselling business, what is wrong with you? Right?
yeah, I mean, there's always something somebody's wanting, and if you want it bad enough, you're going to find a way to get it.
Holy cow, dude.
I mean, that's the way I've always been. If I want it and I don't have the money, I will try to either trade around to get it, sell something off to get it, or do some work to get it. One of the three. If you want it bad enough, you're going to figure out a way to get it.
That's true. That's true. Jason, let me introduce you to Roman, the anytime picker. If you're not familiar, he is the reselling community comedian. He is in here without fail with his jokes. And he just starts as soon as he hits the room. When Ben grows up, he wants to be 21 again. Hello, Roman. Thanks for joining me as always, buddy.
We're all 21 all the time, ain't we?
That's
At least
what
I
I
feel
thought.
like I am. I'm never going to grow up, I don't think.
Scott says, I tell everyone I'm an only child too. My brother and sister hate it though.
There is
Yeah.
advantages to being an only child, and there's disadvantages too. Because if something went wrong, you didn't have nobody to. It's just me.
That you're exactly right. Plus, we didn't have to share nothing with anybody.
Right.
You know. All right. So let me ask you this. And we talked briefly about this before we went live. Do you ever use the draft bank procedure and schedule listings to drop? Do you do any of that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I just basically what I use. I don't want to call it a draft bank. Is whatever's ending for that day. I'll just go back through and I kind of sell similar. So that kind of gives me. I've got enough items that I've got something every day. So that gives me stuff that I can drop every hour or 2 hours, and then turn around and then whatever I create. I just don't have a draft bank. I like put it up there, and if like I said, I think if you take a good picture and it's got a good price, and somebody's going to eventually buy it. I mean, it's inevitable to me.
Right, right. What has been your best sellers? I mean, have you had a particular item that you've had multiple of that it's sold really well?
Yeah, I got about 20 left of these 1984 collectors posters. They're Hot Wheel collectors posters, new old stock. And I had about 50 of them almost. I'd say close to 50 when I bought them. And I bought them years and years and years ago. And then I was going through stuff and I come across them. I'm like, well, these have been sitting out here in the shop forever. And I sell them on eBay. I've got them listed for 30 and they sell pretty consistent. And then I'll take an offer as low as 25 a lot of times because I've got so many, but I'm down to about 20 left. And I've got I think I gave $20 for all of them. I'm pretty sure.
If you got one you can show, I'd like to see that just as a collector anyway.
I got it right here.
All right, Scott, thank you for joining us. He's got to go. Supposed to be editing, the slowest editor in the world. Good night, everybody. Thank you, Scott, for coming in.
That's me.
Oh, dude.
This is new old stock, but every car that I had, so it's like that is the year. You start remembering the years anyway.
Yeah.
So I've got these where they're still folded up, never been unfolded, and I had about 40 to 50 of them. And I'm down to about 20.
Where did you find those at?
I actually found that on a deal on eBay years and years and years ago because the guy had one listed. And then I seen that he had listed 10 as a multi-quantity. And he only wanted like $3 or $4 a piece for them. And I was like, I messaged him after I bought one and I said, you got him, how many do you have? And then this was years ago before you were supposed to do the whole messaging thing. You know how it goes. Nowadays, they kind of want you to, but now, used to, they never wanted you to contact them. So anyway, I ended up working a deal and I bought them from him on eBay. And I actually bought them through eBay because he made a listing. And he told me, hey, the listing's going live. I bought them and then shipped them to me. And I think I gave $20 for the stack. And he didn't know how many was in there. And I think there was about 40 to 50 in there. So, and I've still got probably 20 left, but it's probably one of the favorite things people say. I remember those, and they got to have that poster because it's got every car that come out that year. And they used to do that for a few years, and I don't, I've got a lot of posters through the years. I've got all the red line posters and stuff. I got a poster over here that's unreal. I just brung down from the shop, and it's a snake and mongoose poster. Matter of fact, the original.
Nice.
I bought it from a guy that had bought an original shipper, and he pulled it out, and I bought it from him, and I got it framed, and I got it sitting over there. The frame's worth was higher than the actual what I paid for the poster, but the poster's worth about $1,000. So
wow, dude, that's amazing. You know what we should do? Like you and I is going to have time to do this. We should start our own little diecast podcast where we talk all things diecast and collectibles. You know what I mean?
I can talk about Hot Wheels. I'm not too good on Matchbox, but I've got a few muscle machines and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anything to do with Hot Wheels, I've been involved with since the 90s
Well,
hardcore.
I may have to buy one of those posters off of you because I'm putting together my die cast room in the house, and one of them would look great framed on my wall in there. So I may have to get one of those from you.
Well, I'll just bring you one to the 127.
Sweet, dude. That'd be awesome, man. I'd appreciate that, my friend. Speaking of 127, guys, a lot of you are fans of the Reseller Locker Room podcast. Coming up this Friday night, we're doing our Locker Room live show. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central on the Locker Room podcast channel. We're going to have the two old guys reselling podcast dudes, Caleb and Josh, will be joining us in the locker room this Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be talking more details about the Highway 127 sale, the meetup that's occurring. If you've not already got your tickets, I can tell you this. The amount of tickets we've already sold from doing the live last Friday night was mind-blowing. How many have sold since we done that first live? This thing is going to sell out, I am guessing, probably months before the actual event takes place. So if you're thinking about it at all, you definitely want to make it to Crossville, Tennessee, Highway 127. The meetup is August 2nd, Friday night, and we're going to be having the Reseller Locker Room Resellers Bowling Tournament that Thursday night before at a local bowling alley. You can message me on Instagram if you want to sign up to be on a bowling team, and we're going to go at it for some prizes and all kinds of fun stuff at that Thursday night event. Then, after the meetup on Friday night, if you're in attendance and you want to dare do this, you can come to the Reseller Locker Room podcast Airbnb house for an after party held at our place there in Crossville. And I don't know what's going to happen there. It's going to get crazy, but the GoPros will be filming. So it will be put on channels to witness. If you didn't come to the after party, you're going to see what you missed out on. But anyway, we're going to be there all week. And then, of course, Jason, you're lucky enough to live close by to the 127, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be there. I actually bought 2 tickets for that, but I'll be at the 127 most of that week.
Great. Mary says, I already have the notification turned on for Friday. Woohoo. Meetup is going to be a blast. Yes, Mary's got tickets. Jason has got his tickets. Have you got yours? You need to definitely go to eventbrite.com, buy those tickets now. And if you've not made reservations for overnight accommodations, you really better be getting on the stick because those things go first. I remember going last year. I had some friends that had to stay all the way into Knoxville because there was no other motels or hotels in the immediate vicinity available. So be sure you get on top of those reservations. All right, Jason, you've got free reign, son. What do you want to talk about? What do you want the viewers of your YouTube channel to know?
My YouTube channel is more for entertainment. I like to, what you see on there is what I think in my head when I am pulling stuff out of my box or whatever I'm taking down from the shop. Or if you see something, I put a lot of commercials and all that stuff I remember when I was a kid, or I think something, I'll just throw it in there. I know a lot of people some people think it's annoying. Some people like it. I just put what I think whenever you're watching it. I'm like, this is what I'm thinking. I'm just going to put it out there. So that's kind of what I do on my channel. And my channel is not like, it is informative, but I'm not taking it like serious. Like when I say I take the channel serious, I just don't take the content. I know Hot Wheels, and so that's what I can tell you about. When I go to unbox or bring down some of these signs, I know some of them, but I don't know a lot of them, and I haven't even done a sign video yet. I'm still trying to get through some of the Hot Wheels to get to the signs right now. And then I've got albums I've got to start going through, so who knows when I'm going to get a chance to go through them. So.
Wow, man. You've got so much stuff. You probably don't even need to source this year at all, do you?
My wife can tell you I wouldn't have to source for 5 years and I still couldn't sell it all. I mean, I could be serious with it. I just bought 4,000 Hot Wheels what was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? I mean, to go through 4,000 Hot Wheels to actually go through them, I mean, it takes, 2 or 3 weeks for me. And that's doing nothing but sorting them, and grabbing them. And I know kind of what I'm doing there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I collect still. So I'm like, I'm out and about. I love the yard sales. I love flea markets, yard sales, all that. Estate sales has been something that I've actually got into this last couple of years. And if anybody knows anything about silver, or what do you call it, silver? I bought. I was at the estate sale on the last day. I went back because I'd already went over it the third time, and they had so much awesome stuff that I just kept buying. And I walked in that last day, and they wanted $1 a piece for all this silver. I'm talking about 1800s, big
Wow.
silver pins, plates, tea sets, salt paper. I don't know. I got 5 tubs full of it. I just threw them an offer out of $100, and I said I'll take it all. And whenever I threw $100 out there, she was like, she started counting it and she said, just take it. So I've got well over 100 pieces, but it's all silver. And I know nothing about silver, but I know that $100 is a good price for that much silver.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, without question.
Well, I have no play. I don't have a clue what to do. I don't want to melt it because she said, I got a guy that wants to buy it to melt it. And I'm like, I don't really want to melt it because some people may collect this stuff. I just don't even have a clue where to start.
Well, one of the good things that I found helpful when you're dealing in items that you're not familiar with is, and you talked about this briefly before we went live, that's where your involvement in social media becomes a key thing, developing those relationships like community chat groups on Facebook. If you can get into like an estate sales chat group, post pictures of those silver items, you will have people that are going to be able to identify them by the photo and tell you what you've got, give you an idea on pricing. Of course, you can always take pictures using Google Lens, and that'll identify the item a lot of times and give you what prices are on it. But the same can be said, Jason, about silverware. Antique silverware is very profitable if you find the right style, design, brand name. All those antique silverware pieces. Listen, I've got reseller friends that'll make $100 on a fork, a single fork. But it requires a lot of self-education and a lot of time. And then you got to clean that stuff. And it does eat a lot of your time up, but there is money in it, especially all these silver pieces that you purchased.
Yeah. I've been on those 2 or 3 forums on Facebook, and it's like, somebody will say it's worth this, and the next person says it's worth that. And it's like, I'm just looking for somebody that maybe that's something that I'm not going to try to get into. If they could do something with it, maybe we could work out a deal and they could just take it all, But yeah, I just think I really don't have the time to dig down into the silver right now. So it's just sitting over in the back burner, been sitting there for months, just sitting there in boxes that I know somebody somewhere is looking for some of that. So
yeah.
Now, that's my wife right there.
That's right. That's what I was fixing to say, man. Rebecca's joined us. As long as I get Starbucks when we are out, Mama is happy. Well, yeah, you got to have Starbucks. All right. Mary says, Caleb and Tanya have been doing great with their silverware. Yes. It's a profitable thing, guys. If you want to if you want to invest the time in educating, the thing about silverware is there's so many patterns, so many brands. It's a lot for my little brain to consume, and I just don't want to dedicate. Silverware doesn't excite me. Jason, you're like me. You want to sell what you like and love. And your knowledge is effortless. When you're dealing in stuff you love, knowledge is effortless. You know what I mean?
Right. But you can't going to pass up a deal.
Well, that's true too.
That's where I'm at. I didn't want to pass up the deal.
Well, how many pieces did you say it was?
Well, after we counted past 100, she just said take it. Wow. So there's at least 100. Wow. But we're not talking about forks. I'm talking about
silver platters and tea urns and all that.
This this person's house estate that we went to had collected their whole life, and everything they had in every room was so collectible. I bought so good stuff the first day, and then it was so good. I wish I could go back in time. I would have tried to buy the house, the outside, the whole inside. But I
Oh
was
yeah,
in
yeah.
Florida at the time, and I've got and anyway, me and my wife go down to Florida a lot. We got a place down there, and so we were like, let's just get it. We'll take it back over to our place and just drop it off. And so anyway, uh, so that's what we did. I just knew that it was a deal. When I walked in and they said $1 an item, it was the last day they wanted to get it gone. It was a deal. So
Wow. Well, I guess you would start with identifying the maker's mark, or if there's a manufacturer name on the pieces, and just
yeah,
start.
everything has got symbols just about stamped on it. There's no like really dates or anything, but then I've got guys that tried to help me identify a lot of it, and I'm like, this is consuming a lot of time that I can stay with Hot Wheels and do 100 Hot Wheels to one piece of silver. So let me.
Yeah,
So I found out quickly it's probably something I can learn it, but do I want to? Probably not.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it is time consuming. All right. So, what do you think the biggest challenge is as a YouTube creator for you?
Um, Editing time. Mine's editing time because I want everything to come out presentable, whatever you want to call it. What I think is presentable, and I go over too far. My wife watches and she's like, "You don't have to put half that in there," and I'm like, "I know, but it's just what I'm thinking at the time." And I found that as I go through Hot Wheels, I'm slowly starting to realize that I actually want to do some kind of topic or show and teach some of these newer guys about Hot Wheels. I got a lot of knowledge. I'm not as old as a lot of the guys, but I've heard the stories from those guys that have since passed on through the years of collecting Hot Wheels that I've learned from these designers and lifelong collectors and the people that's put out these books on Hot Wheels that I've hung out with all these shows all these years. That you learn you get all these stories and what to look for and how to check for real. And a lot of people fake these even back in the 70s and 80s because they realize how much profit there is. And now they trickle today. Somebody that's new might not even realize that it was something that somebody was trying to get over on somebody years ago. So I'm kind of wanting to do another channel on just Hot Wheels,
Me
even
too.
though that's consuming my show that I have now, but I've got so much more up there. I'm just having to hit the Hot Wheels first to get everything else out of the way. So, because
Gotcha.
whenever we left our other house in 2006, I had a 24 by 36 shop full, a 20 by 20 two-car garage full, and another room in the house full of Hot Wheels floor to ceiling. You could not move because I bought anything and everything that had a Hot Wheel symbol on it for years, years. And I'm serious about that. I'm not.
Oh, I believe you.
So
Yeah, yeah. I thought I had a lot, but I don't have. I know I don't have a number near what you have. Last time
but
I counted a couple years ago, it was right around 30,000 that I had, and that was a mix between loose and carded. Um, but I kind of like to collect both. I want a carded version and I want a loose version. You know.
I want my stuff loose most of the time because I actually handle it and I like to touch it and sometimes I just want to roll it across the desk.
Well, I got a 21-foot drag strip track, dude, that I set up and race them on. But anyway, this is not a
Yeah.
diecast channel,
I,
so we're
sorry,
apologizing, guys.
sorry, that is ingrained in me. That's what I've done for all my life. But I've got a lot of cool toys and stuff I'm about to go through whenever I get back up to the shop. Um, that hopefully will trickle onto the channel in the next little bit. But the box I just unboxed a couple days ago, I'm doing a video now, is 18 years. It's not been open.
Wow.
And it's sitting right here.
Yeah, you want to do a little sneak peek?
I'll show you something that's pretty rare. A lot of people don't have that I forgot about buying, and I actually got 5 different ones of these, but I don't know if you've ever seen them or not. But these are German Heiss Raider instead of they say Hot Wheels, but the Heiss Raiders in German.
Oh,
These are
wow.
1/43rd scale. These come out in the 70s, and the details on these things are crazy with the doors opening.
Yeah,
And these are
hold it
Hot
up a
Wheels.
little bit. Hold it up a little bit more.
And these
Dude,
are Hot Wheels. Check out the bottom. They're I don't know
wow.
if you can read that. Heiss Raiders.
Yeah.
And I got 5 different ones of these. And these have been in this box for 18 years. And I remember buying them now after I opened it back up. You kind of remember those type deals. But stuff like this, you're just not going to find usually unless you go to a Hot Wheels show, a convention, or like an eBay. But these are called Maybe Toys, but they're Hot Wheels. And they're from Germany.
Killer. Germany, that's killer, dude.
That'll be on my new video. I've got 5 different ones of those in there, plus a bunch of Real Riders in the package and a lot of black walls. I mean, it's basically what I picked up at that convention and brought home with me because it was in California, so I actually had to have this box right here shipped.
Do you have any vintage wrestling figures like from the 80s vintage?
Mine, when I was a kid, I have probably up there somewhere, but they were remember the big rubber type? I had 4 of them, which were my 4. I had a Hulk, Rowdy Piper, Iron Sheik, and Vladi Diva. What's his tag team partner? Those are the 4 I had. I didn't get into the wrestling figures as much as I did He-Man, and I had the thumb wrestling. Remember the thumb wrestlers?
Yeah.
I had those, but Hulk was always my favorite. Hulk Hogan, well, Ric Flair, because I love the way he talked, and then Hulk Hogan just because you gotta have it.
I
But
got
anyway,
you, man.
I love anything 80s and 90s is what I've slowly collected, and then I collect a lot of antiques. And if you know anybody that's into records, I'm probably gonna start going through them pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people here in chat that probably deal in albums and all that kind of stuff. And did you ever get into autograph collecting? I've got a massive autograph collection that I haven't even gotten to yet.
Only autographs I get, I actually had this hat autographed, but that was back when I first had this hat. I get autographs from the designers of Hot Wheels, not that they're big money or anything. I don't have a lot of stuff signed.
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of stuff signed that's from designers of Hot Wheels. Or like some of the celebrities you meet while you're doing that, or like out there in California, there's a lot of people that live there that you'll meet.
Sure. Roman, anytime picker, he is into records. So you might be able to hook up with him and y'all could discuss what you got and all that kind of stuff. The big thing that we kind of talked about, touched on, is how important it is to surround yourself with a good support system. And being a part of this reselling community for me is a big deal. All of us are like-minded. We all have the same goal, and that is to, try to make extra money, or we're full-time and we're trying to do this business to make a living. And it's important to create that network of contacts within the reselling community. And that's why you get every opportunity. If you have a chance to go to a reseller meetup, whether it's 127 or any of the other ones, it's important that you try to fit those into your schedule and go meet some of these people in person, exchange thoughts, ideas. We can talk about the myths of eBay all night long. I mean, all of our assumptions of why sales are down and why this. There's so many conspiracy theories out there that we guys on the locker room are probably going to dedicate an entire episode to eBay conspiracy theories. And, we'll put the tin foil on our head and we're going to do the alien thing and come up with that. There's all kinds of stuff. But anyway. All right, Jason, we're going to about wind it down. Any other thoughts you would like to share to our audience?
I just like what you're doing. I mean, you got to love it or don't do it. That's the way I look at it. That goes with reselling, and that goes with the YouTube stuff. You either love it or you hate it. If you even think you don't like it, don't get into it. Because
who were some of the first YouTube channels, Jason, you started watching?
as far as
watching reselling on YouTube, who were some of the first channels you started watching?
I watched that Shed Flips. I think was the first one.
Lonnie and Candace, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was the first one. And then after that, you kind of look through the different things. I've watched your stuff, and I've watched. Trying to think of everybody. I watched Dave, ADH Dave guy. I like him. I've not sat and watched a lot of. I turn it on in the background, and I'm listening. So yeah, I've started watching his channel too. I like Shaner.
Yeah. Andrew Goodwater Pickers was on with me last week. Thanks for joining us, Andrew. Yeah, time zone, dude. That's a killer. Roman says Roman started watching my channel 10 years ago.
I didn't even know they went back that far.
They don't. I mean, I've had channels on YouTube, but it wasn't reselling related. So
that's cool. I don't know nothing about it. I'm just throwing it out there, and it's for entertainment. So mine's for entertainment. I'm not knowledgeable enough to tell you what to do and what not to do on eBay. I just throw it on there and take a good picture and get a good price, and it's going to sell.
Well, let me get out here. Let me change this here. Oh, I don't have a banner created. I got to create a banner for this next segment. All right. All right. If you've watched any of my lives at one time or another, or even some of my videos on my channel, I have this moment where I go into a rant. And for those of you that have not paid any attention, you might have seen it on your seller hub. You might have seen it in other YouTube videos, but the seller winter update came out from eBay several days ago or late last week. And let me tell you something. I've had to listen to people whine about one of the factors that's in that seller update, that eBay has raised their rates, their selling fees. Ladies and gentlemen, get over it. It equates to 10 cents, a 10-cent increase. And I've read comments in these chat rooms, Jason, people whining over the 10-cent increase. How do you handle anything over $10? There's being 10 cents added to your fee. How do you handle that as a reseller?
I don't change anything, because if they send me an offer that's $1 less than what I was wanting, I'll probably take it. So I wouldn't add no money or anything to it. I mean, it's inevitable. Everybody's got to make money. So
yeah, why does everybody get upset when they raise their rates? Let me tell you something. eBay is our daddy. If you're a reseller on the eBay platform, eBay is our daddy. Just face it now. If they wanted to, we ought to be thankful they only raised it 10 cents, because they can easily go tomorrow and say, you know what? We're going to raise it $1. They can do it. And I get tipped. I'm sorry, Jason. I get ticked off. People complaining over it.
Or my items, where else am I going to sell it? That's the way I look at it. I mean, get the eyeballs. There's a lot of different platforms, but to get the eyeballs on what I have, where else am I going to sell it? That's kind of the way I look at it.
Red marker. Do you know what this means, Jason? No. These are my mood pins. When I'm in a good mood, it's blue. When I'm going on a rant and I'm getting ticked, I go on a red pen. But anyway, I just think it's crazy. anything over $10, they're raising the fee 10 cents. You know what? Add 10 cents to your asking price. Quit whining about it. You know, quit wasting everybody's time and listening to people whine about your rate increase. It's going to happen. It's going to happen again and again and again. So get over it. And here's an interesting thing. You may have seen a lot of other videos, Jason, where the conspiracy theory is eBay's trying to push out these small item sales, you know, items that are under $15, under $10. By changing the algorithm, they're trying to squeeze those items out of their system. Well, if that were true, how come they didn't raise the fee rates on items on $10 or less? It looks to me if they wanted to squeeze you out of selling those low dollars, they would dramatically raise the selling fee to leave you less profit to make. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I'd say 90% of my sales are under $15 when you deal with a lot of stuff I sell. And that's just the way it is. If they didn't want you to, they'd say minimum $5. And if you don't want to list it for $5, don't list it. That's the way I look at it. Money's green to them. Looks like it's green to me. They don't care as long as they're getting their money. That's just bottom line. I mean, whether you sell a $5 item or a $100 item, those $5 items sell twice as fast as $100 items because a lot of people just don't have a lot of extra income just to be spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on these big items, but they'll buy 10 or 15 $5 items before they'll jump on a $100 item, I think.
Very good point. I agree.
I don't think that they're going to cut it because then they're going to be like, that guy's not going to resell for me. So if he ain't going to resell, 100% of zero is still zero.
It's true. Very true. Shane says, spank me, daddy. You know, I was kind of over exaggerating, but you know, the fact is eBay is our daddy. It controls the game, guys. eBay controls this game. And either we're going to play along or you need to fold up shop and go somewhere else. But Jason, like you said, where else are you going to go?
You're going to have to do a flea market, and then you're going to the flea market to buy it, to resell it. So you're going to have to go to a flea market, and people at the flea market most of the time ain't going to spend what they will on eBay because you're looking for that item. If you're on eBay going, hey, I need that, you know, so.
Yeah.
And
right. even when you sell at a flea market, Jason, you've got a limited audience versus the vast world of eBay online.
You might get 20 eyes on your item sometimes where you're going to have 20,000 or, you know, however many you got normally you would look at your stuff. I don't do click-through rate. I don't know none of that stuff, but I know a lot of people look at that stuff, and I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm looking for something and I find it for a good price, I buy it. I don't care about click-through rate, or I look and make sure they got some good feedback first. And I do that. But
yeah, I got you. Woody says, "Who's your daddy?" Yeah. Listen, I call it like it is, and that's what eBay is. They set the rules, so yeah. But anyway, I'll be doing a video on that winter update, and there's some other changes that eBay's made. If you haven't read the winter update, you go to your seller hub down there where they post new seller news. You go in there and read it. They made some changes, as they always do this time of year. Go in there and get yourself familiar. I'm going to do a video on that subject. Hopefully I won't be popping my top, but who knows? So I just get aggravated how people complain, you know? So, oh yeah. Roman says, don't get being angry. Those dividers behind him will disappear fast. Yeah, I'll bust through them like the Hulk. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, okay. I hadn't had a rant on this live in a couple weeks, so I had to fit that in. And Jason, you got anything else you would like to share before we go?
You know, check out the channel. If you see something you want to know more about, put it in the comments or whatever. I don't have a lot of that social media stuff. I think I do have now an Instagram. I know nothing about it much. That's how I got a hold of Ben, or we talked back and forth a little bit. Yep. But I don't know the social media side of it. I just like putting out videos. I love editing them, and I love going through that collection and then obviously resell what you can. You know, that's, you know, if you like the channel, or you want to know something about something, let me know. I'll try to put it in there. Um, I just enjoy doing it. I'm not really there to show you how much I gave for something and how much it sold for. I'll tell you what it sold for, but half the stuff I got, I don't remember. It was in 15, 20 years on a lot of it, or maybe more. And it's like, I can guess, but I think most people just want to, they just want a little bit of entertainment or something in the background while they're listening. So I just try to give a little entertainment, have a little fun with it. But anyway, I can talk all day about anything, I guess. So
That's right. Well, I think you're doing a great job, Jason. And like I said, I'm a fan of your channel. And
thank
it's thrilling to watch you as you go through the whole collection of stuff that you've massed over the years and from your childhood. And I know that I can't wait to see more of that. So if you haven't subbed to his channel, please go down. If you're watching the replay, I will put a link to Jason's channel down in the description down below. Be sure to sub to him, and he's also on Instagram, Lux Garage. In the meantime, my name is Ben, Rocky Top Picker. Hope you give this video a thumbs up. If you've not subbed to my channel, please hit that sub button. Absolutely free. And we cannot wait to see you guys right back here next time on Reselling on Rocky Top.
And that was live. It was a blast. I appreciate y'all coming back and seeing me, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Thank you. Hear me or not? I don't know much about this. Got a new camera, trying to figure it out. Check, check.